I've never felt this hungry in my entire life. Like, I don't know why I'm so tired. I'm so sleepy. I did get referred to a maternal fetal medicine specialist. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yesenia, and obviously by the time of this video is going to be another pregnancy related video. If you're new here, I am a mom to a toddler and one little baking muffin up in here. If you're in that stage of life or you're just curious, make sure you keep on watching and click the subscribe button below so you can get more pregnancy related videos. Obviously by the title of this video, this is going to be my first trimester recap. I am at 14 weeks as of yesterday, so I'm officially out of the first trimester into the second and excited as ever. To start off, I'm going to go quickly like week by week little things and symptoms I felt, and then I'm going to go ahead and deep dive into certain symptoms I felt, how my mental health is doing, and just all that fun stuff. To quickly recap, I did find out in September 2nd of this year, 2023, that I was pregnant. And a couple days later, I did go to a pregnancy service center where all the services are free. So I have one local to my area, and I went to this place the first time I was pregnant with my toddler. So I just wanted to find out how far along I was before going to an OB, because usually for OBs, they'll make you wait around like 8 to 12 weeks to get your first ultrasound, depending on the date of your last period. Now, according to my period app, my last period was in August 3rd of this year, but I was in Miami at that time and I do not remember getting my period, so I don't know what I logged in there. But then I do have a log from July, and that one I think is the actual last period, especially with my due date and stuff. So anyways, I went to the pregnancy service center. So at that time we went with the August date, and I would have been 5 weeks at the time, and they don't like to do any ultrasounds until at least 6. So we waited one extra week. I went to do the ultrasound, and it's the one where it's an internal ultrasound. It's probably worse than it sounds, but it's not that bad. And then when she did the measurements, we were actually around 9 weeks at the time. So we actually found out that I was at 9 weeks along instead of 6, which is like a pretty big difference, especially for me, because I wanted to just wait a little bit longer to tell my family this time around and to just keep it a secret. So I thought with 6 weeks I had more time, but being 9, I obviously wanted to tell them a little sooner. I think I ended up telling my family around 10 and a half to 11 weeks. It's just hard to keep a secret like that in, especially my husband. He could not wait to tell everybody. I was a little more cautious this time, but honestly all my family's reactions were positive, so that really helped with my emotions and feelings, but we'll talk about that later. So I found out at 9 weeks, and then at 10 weeks I did have one nauseous day. It wasn't that bad, I'll be very honest. It was like in the morning, I woke up, I gagged, I threw up a little bit, and that lasted maybe like 3 to 4 hours. But after that, I was pretty much okay. After that one nauseous day, I haven't had a day like that again. And I know this varies so much from person to person, pregnancy to pregnancy. I'm so thankful that I did not get the nauseousness this time around, because honestly, it just sucks. From weeks 9 to 10, my breast also did start to feel a little more sore. Not as bad as like my first pregnancy, which is a little surprising. That was my first symptom when I was pregnant with my first. This time around, it actually came around like 9 to 10 weeks, and it wasn't too bad. It started getting worse around like weeks 12 and the 13, where they actually feel so sore, so heavy. I'll be honest, I'm just hoping that I don't start producing milk that fast, because I'm not ready for that stage where milk just starts staining your bras. I would say TMI, but this is a pregnancy video, so you're gonna get what you get. When you start producing milk or breastfeeding, that starts to happen, and I'm just not ready for that stage of pregnancy yet. I know it's towards the 3rd trimester, but nonetheless, I'm not ready. This next one, from weeks 10 to 11 and on, I have had this never-ending hunger. I'm being so serious. I have never felt this hungry in my entire life. I feel like I eat a big breakfast, and usually before pregnancy, I would eat like maybe a snack like around 4 p.m. and then have dinner. But during this pregnancy, I will have a nice decent sized breakfast. 2 or 3 hours later, I'm starving for lunch. Then I'll be starving for dinner. For nighttime, sometimes I would have like a little hot chocolate or something. But right now, I think I have to like include toast sometimes a little sandwich. I just don't understand. At this rate, this baby's about to be super baby in there and be a giant. I just hope I don't have a 10-pound baby at labor and delivery, because I already had an 8-pound baby and she was great, but I'm afraid of those 10-pound babies, and I was one of those. One other little symptom I noticed that I don't know when it started is my heightened sense of smell. I actually think this is a really cool symptom pregnant women get, where your sense of smell just really gets heightened, and that can be sometimes good and sometimes the worst thing in the world, because certain foods smell so bad, so gross, especially if you have aversions to anything. Smelling a certain type of smell can really make those gag reflexes act up, and it's just not good. I also feel like sometimes I have to light up more candles and do some extra cleaning because the house just smells weird. And let's not talk about my toddler's dirty diapers because those smell so bad right now, so bad. Okay, now we're gonna deep dive into some other symptoms that I felt, and we're gonna start with pregnancy congestion. If you didn't know that this was a thing, neither did I. I thought I was just sick for the longest time. Once we came back from our vacation from Florida at the end of August, I actually got very sick for a week. I was like, okay, that's just from the trip. And at the time, I didn't even think I was pregnant. So once the week passed, my sickness went away, but the congestion stayed. And I just felt like, wow, this sickness is really lasting on me, which is unusual because I'm not the type of person to really get sick often. At that time, I would have been 7 weeks and the congestion just never stopped. You can hear it in so many of my recent videos where it just sounds like I'm sick. If I sound sick, I really hope I'm not getting sick again. I don't know what it is lately, but I've been getting sick so much easier. And it's not the end of the world, but it is unpleasant because I couldn't get the full taste of food. I had mocos running down everywhere, congestion nose. I had trouble sleeping because I had to sleep breathing through my mouth, and then my throat would hurt. I would snore, it would wake me up. And overall, it was an unpleasant experience. I am now 14 weeks. The pregnancy congested lasted from 7 to 13 weeks, and I hope that was the end of it. I did read other moms' experiences, and some of them were congested right up until birth. And so many women said that after giving birth to the baby, the congestion just disappeared, and I'm hoping it does not come back. Now let's talk skin changes. I usually do have a dry skin, but I feel like as of lately it's been extra dry, especially like my elbows. I have some ashy elbows right now. So I'm really trying to remember every night after I shower to put cream all over my face, my elbows, my body, and my belly. Oh my gosh. As far as stretch marks, I haven't noticed any new ones, but I do have some around my belly, like my belly button, where I feel like they're more pronounced right now. So I'm gonna just keep trying to moisturize it, maybe do like the belly oil thing. At the end of the day, stretch marks are genetic, but I just want to do as much as I can to help out the stretch marks and not be as visible. And that's just something I personally want to do. I know other people may feel differently about it, but if I can just try to prevent any extra stretch marks, then that's what I want to do. Another big skin change for me is actually my redness here in my face. And usually it would flare up with my period. It flared up with my previous pregnancy. And I think it's just a hormonal thing. Right now it's actually not as bad. Usually it'll be really red and like pimples will start forming. And who knows, maybe it's an old wives' tale if it's gonna be a boy or girl. Another symptom I have felt so much this pregnancy has been fatigue. I felt so much fatigue and tiredness in my first trimester this time around. Now, once again, it did start when we got back from our vacation at the end of September. And I'm not someone that gets tired from vacations. I usually love vacations. I thrive on it. I come back, I'm energized. But this time around, I was so tired. I thought, okay, it's probably because I'm getting sick. But even after the initial week of being sick, I was still just constantly tired. And I remember even telling Josh, like, I don't know why I'm so tired. I'm so sleepy. After I took the pregnancy test a couple of weeks later, it all made sense. Obviously, time doesn't stop, especially being a mom to a toddler. So it's not like I can just take a nap whenever I want it. It's not like I can just rest. Life keeps going, and having a little toddler that wants to play with you and use all your energy, you just learn to deal with it. And I feel like that's the whole theme of motherhood, just adapting to every situation that you put in. That's something else that I had to adapt to, momming with my fatigue, but I'm kind of glad I'm over that stage right now. I would say that for about a good 2 weeks, I haven't really felt that fatigue anymore. Yes, I'm still tired. I do not get my full 8 hours of sleep because I sleep late. I was even so tired that sometimes I would nap with my daughter during her nap time, and that's not something I've done in so long, like months and months. I did a lot of that in the early stages, sometimes like when she was a little bit older, but to nap with her, that's not something I would do at this stage. And when I was hit with that fatigue, I definitely took a couple of naps with her. I think something else that contributed to the fatigue is that I haven't slept my best as of lately. I wouldn't necessarily call it like insomnia, but I've been trying to actually go to bed earlier so I can wake up earlier. But I will go to bed and just lay there for about 2 hours, sometimes 3, and I just cannot fall asleep. I know pregnancy is insomnia. But overall, the fatigue has lessened by week 13, but the sleeping and tossing and turning is something I'm still dealing as of today. All right, next I'm going to talk about body changes and insecurity. I kind of touched up on the stretch marks, but to be honest with you, that's not really something I'm insecure about. Like, I had a baby and I have stretch marks. I don't think it's a big deal to me. It's not something that makes me insecure at all. But something I have been insecure about is, you know, a lot of people say that after your first pregnancy, you start to show a lot sooner. And I found this to be very true. I feel like my baby bump started kind of showing around week 12 compared to my first pregnancy, where I did not show up until like week 18 or 20. Now, here's where the insecurity comes in. I did not lose all my baby weight with my first pregnancy, so I have a lot of that overweight. And so having a baby bump grow a lot faster, you know, that makes me feel a little insecure sometimes. Like, is it really a baby bump, or is it just me eating whatever I want and just gaining weight at a much faster rate? And I'm just gonna be very honest on here. It's something that sometimes I find a little embarrassing, because I'll be like, is it the baby bump? Do I show it off? Or is it just a food bump and I'm here pretending it's a baby? However, I'm not gonna let my insecurities get to me, because I am pregnant and this doesn't happen too often. I'm not gonna have like 20 babies. So I want to enjoy my pregnancy. I want to show off my baby bump, my belly bump, whatever you want to call it. So it's something that I've been trying to change my mind on and just be very positive about it, but that is something I am personally working on. The next topic I want to talk about is my mental health, and the trigger warning, I do speak about my past miscarriages because that is something that affects me personally. So if you want to skip this section all around, I would much rather you skip this part of the video than to watch and affect your own mental health. All right, so to jump right into it, my mental health has been okay, and I say that because I have been dealing with a lot of fear and anxiety this whole pregnancy, because I had mentioned it in the past, but I did have 2 miscarriages, one at 17 weeks and one at 6 weeks. The miscarriage of 17 weeks in the second trimester affected me very, very deeply. And although every pregnancy appointment that I have been to says this baby is healthy, this baby is thriving, it is something that doesn't leave the back of my mind. And I feel like it's almost something that I can't even control, because it'll be the little things I do subconsciously. Like every time that I go to the bathroom to pee, or every morning that I wake up, I check my underwear to see if there's any blood or any spotting. And it's not that I even try to think about it, it's just something I do subconsciously. Like every time I will go to the bathroom, I will check and make sure I'm not spotting. I do feel like my first miscarriage was very traumatic in that sense. So it's something that I definitely need to seek therapy for. This pregnancy has brought up a lot of emotions, and I think it's been a little better now towards the second trimester. But in the beginning, I almost felt like guilty for being happy that I was pregnant. Like I mentioned earlier, I didn't want to tell my family, I didn't want to tell anybody, because I feel like, yes, I would be happy to say the sentence, I'm pregnant, but then I just did not want to talk about it any more than that. I had family ask me how I'm doing, how I'm feeling, body stuff, and I did not want to talk about it. It made me very sad, and I would often leave the conversation very early. Is it para los labios de mami? No. Okay. I just got a lip retouch from my daughter, and I will say she is the light of my day. She brings so much happiness into this worrisome time in my life. I will say that I do feel a little more ease this time around, because I did get referred to a maternal fetal medicine specialist, and basically they are more specialized with high-risk pregnancies, miscarriage histories. If you watched my first OB appointment vlog, then you saw that I came out positive for an autoimmune disease, so they will also look more into my lab work and things like that. This basically just means I'm going to be going to get checked up much more often, have a few extra ultrasounds in there, more lab work. For me, this is what makes me feel at ease. I do not get comfort from being told everything's going to be okay, like positive affirmations. What works for me is actually getting the doctor's opinion, getting the doctor's answers, and going from there. I was going to talk about food, but I already went into that on how much I am starving this pregnancy. But something that I thought would be fun is actually and this is the reality of having a toddler and trying to be a content creator. Sometimes you just gotta work with the toddler being in the room with you. And that's pretty much it for the first trimester. If you watched all the way, comment the little baby bottle emoji, and maybe any other ideas you want to see, maybe pregnancy related content, maybe not. My camera did turn off, which means I've been talking for quite a while, so I will see you guys in the next one.